So I had just turned 18 in Durham County and got called as soon as I turned 18, walked in there, and I was the fourth person to be up there chosen. And, of course, they go through each person and they ask certain things to try to figure out if you're the right person for the case. They don't tell you anything about the case, and you're like, what in the world? They were asking questions like, what high school did I graduate from? They asked this one lady what school she worked at. Go through the whole selection process, and then they tell you about this case. And so this case was about this 18-year-old boy who had broken into this apartment. He was charged with numerous cases of larceny, holding a gun to the head of a woman and her child, stealing some cash from her. There was several different things, some drug charges. It was pretty extensive, and so that was pretty much it. And so the case hearing it took about 2.5, 3 days. And then we had to go deliberate, and the deliberation only for about maybe half of the day. But they tell you, you go out for lunch, you can't talk to anybody, so you're pretty much like, what in the world? And you feel like everybody's watching you, and, like you see on the movies, like, okay, somebody's gonna come get me.
Kristen, real quick, I have to say the fact that this was what you had in front of you when you were 18 years old, making this type of decision, like, that is kind of wild to me. They're like, yep, this 18-year-old is who we want to be a part of the jury. Like, that's a whole other conversation.
You probably thought, man, being an adult is really hard.
Yeah. I don't like this entry into adulthood.
Is this how it always is?
So, I don't know what you guys decided. So, quickly, innocent or guilty? What are you going with here, Sarah?
Oh, well, I mean, I didn't hear the case, but my guess.
She just laid out some things, and she just told us some things.
Right. I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
I'm going to say guilty just because
but I don't know I didn't hear his side of it.
I'm only saying guilty because there were so many things that the person was charged with.
Good point. Based on that alone, I agree with you.
I want to go with being innocent. He's 18. They didn't have all the evidence in front of them. What happened, Kristen? What did you decide as a jury?
We found him guilty of everything but one, and the one thing we didn't find him guilty of was larceny of orange juice.
But he did take the milk.
Larceny was because of orange juice. He went in the kitchen and took orange juice out of the refrigerator.
And how many years was he sentenced for?
He had consecutively for 30 years altogether for each charge. So he's got about, I guess, 10 more years.
Oh,
wow. Well, I mean, that's a pretty heavy thing to have to decide. I mean, it's this person's life. Go ahead.
It was not easy, but after the fact, we found out that the other person that was with him actually had turned on him. So whether we found him guilty or not, he was gonna be found guilty anyway.
I see.
So we actually did the right thing, I guess.
Okay.
Good job.
I was going to ask, what is the ripple after you've made that decision? Like, how do you feel? Do you feel, even if you felt like you were right, did it feel weird having that responsibility?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, how do you process it?
Well, after we found out that that the other person turned on him, I felt better.
I bet.
But the jury doesn't have to stay for sentencing. You can leave after you give your verdict.
Did you stay?
Stay because he was young. Yeah, I did, because I just want to know what happened.
Yeah, I can see that.